We're on a mission from God.
Hello everybody, I'm Derek Daly with one of the most unusual and certainly one of the most unique motorsports events, not just in America, but in the world in general, the 1994 Bridgestone One Lap of America. Now there's only one way to describe an event like this. It really is an adventure on wheels. We have drivers from 7 different countries who will head out from the Race Rock Motor City Diner just outside Detroit, go out west to a long, long loop, and 6 days later arrive back here as very tired puppies. Now, the competition takes place on the highway, but they'll also do 10 different speed events at various racetracks around the country. Now, if you look at the menu here, there is a huge variety to choose from. Well, outside in the car park, there is a smorgasbord of machinery to look at. With a closer look at some of the cars that will compete in this great event, let's go to Ralph Shaheen.
The pre-race parking lot at the One Lap of America is a car enthusiast dream with over 10 different classes. They go from everything from the usual American muscle cars down to radical pieces of machinery like this beautiful Lotus Super 7. And earlier, I had a chance to take a look at some of the different pieces of machinery. What to look at first? That was the first decision we had to make this afternoon when the Race Rock lot began to fill up with One Lap hopefuls. 70 vehicles. Here are the classes of competition for this year's One Lap, from the usual to the exotic. That's a $200,000 Porsche Turbo on the left and a Nissan 300ZX, both sports GT1 cars. How about a DeLorean running in Special Sports American, a ZR1 Corvette, another sports GT1 car, as is this Dodge Viper. And this muscle-bound ERA 427 Cobra replica is also a sports GT1 entry. And here's a car you can't even buy yet, a 1995 Oldsmobile Aurora running in luxury sedan, the same class as this BMW 325i with a plastic steamer trunk topside. From a 1962 Corvette to a 1969 Plymouth Valiant. And the Valiant displays this not-so-subtle suggestion for the enemy camp. This Jaguar XJS is entered in the Special Sports Imported class, and there's plenty of curiosity surrounding this right-hand drive Ford Sierra Cosworth shipped from England especially for the One Lap. This 1995 Porsche 911 Carrera will be driven by 2-time Le Mans winner Hurley Haywood and co-driven by Gene Lindemuth, deputy editor of Automobile Magazine. The other team Porsche, car number 1, will be driven by another Le Mans winner, Bryce Cobb. As you can see, the machinery in the One Lap of America is very unique. We even have a beautifully prepared BMW M1, and you don't see many of those on the highways these days. You know, the people behind the wheel of these machines are just as unique as the cars themselves. Here's Bill Stevens with a look at the people in the cockpit.
Right you are, Ralph. In fact, I'm behind the wheel of this van, and I'll be traveling the 5,000-mile course of the One Lap of America to bring you many of the stories of the people in this event. The One Lap of America is the brainchild of automotive journalist Brock Yates, who we'll speak to later on. This afternoon, some of the world's most hardcore free spirits on wheels began rolling into the race rock, such as Roar Bjornland and Eel Herrigstad, who brought their 72 Duster all the way from Norway. Why?
Well, what could I say? It's just that it's an old hobby car of mine, and we're into old American cars. And I thought it would be nice to bring the car back where it was made.
We're gaining oil here.
Gaining oil? Well, mysteries aside, the Chicone Chrysler Plymouth team from Niagara Falls, New York, was already weary long before the green flag fell.
I want to tell you something, we ain't slept in 3 days. I don't know what, you know, we're having a hell of a start.
IMSA champ Hurley Haywood's problem isn't sleep. It might be sense of direction.
I can get lost leaving my bathroom, so she hopefully is going to be responsible for getting us from point A to point B.
Obviously a seasoned team that's driven together a lot, right?
I drove with him once a long time ago, 2 laps of a track. That's it. I haven't been driving with Hurley at all.
So we'll be hitting the road in just a few minutes. But the one reason that all of these people are here is to drive. Let's get back to Derek.
So with over 5,000 miles, over 6 days through 16 different states, yes, indeed, they are anxious. Now, one of the favorite bumper stickers here is, if you can't run with the big dogs, then stay on the porch. Well, all the dogs are ready to run right now. And one of the big ones is Hurley Haywood in a 1995 911 Porsche Carrera. and he is ready to run as we speak. On your way. Next is the gorgeous Dodge Viper driven by Jerry Churchill and Charlie Lance from nearby Dearborn, Michigan. This is the defending champion of this event and a factory-entered 95 BMW M3, International Rally Champion John Buffum. And the second factory Porsche entry is flagged off. That's the number 1 911 of Price Cobb and Vince Bodyfoot. Now, all 70 entries will be driving through the night following the official course instructions, a distance of about 400 miles, and then arriving at Black Hawk Farms Racing Facility in Beloit, Wisconsin, for the first of 10 performance events tomorrow morning.
The 1994 Bridgestone One Lap of America is brought to you by Bridgestone, the next revolution in tires.
Football fans, get ready for the 1994 NFL season. With Sports Illustrated's exclusive NFL Team Kickoff Kit. Free with your paid subscription to SI. Just tell us your favorite team.
Cowboys! Packers! 49ers,
And we'll give you more than ever before.
This is incredible! I love it.
Your Team Kickoff Kit starts with your official 1994 team video.
A free Cowboys video? Free Browns video?
If I got a free Giants video, I'd be the luckiest man in the world.
Oh, man! Where can I get it?
It's an inside look at your favorite team. Brought to you as only Sports Illustrated can.
And ain't no surprise!
From end zone to end zone, you'll find out what's in store for 94.
Football, baby! Football!
Your Team Kickoff Kit also brings you this authentic NFL team cap. Free.
Free?
Oh, yeah, free. Yes, that's it.
It's a great cap featuring your team's official colors and logos. Call now and you'll also get special bonus coverage of your favorite team in Sports Illustrated. Just tell us your favorite team and we'll include a bonus section on your team's division throughout the NFL season.
Extra Bills coverage. We need it, baby!
More Bears, more Cowboys, the better.
Free extra coverage for the Packers? I'd sign up right now.
Give it to me.
It's an unbelievable football package that no real fan can be without. Call now and get your official team video, hat, and special bonus coverage in SI. Best of all, your kickoff kit is free with your paid subscription to Sports Illustrated. Call now, use your credit card, and you'll get 54 issues of SI, including the swimsuit issue, for only $1.47 an issue. You save over 50% off the cover price. And your incredible Team Kickoff Kit is free.
Yeah. Where's the number?
From preseason to the Super Bowl, you'll really have your team covered in 94 with Sports Illustrated's amazing Kickoff Kit. Nobody gets you into football like Sports Illustrated. Get into it.
Cars are beginning to slowly trickle into Black Hawk Farms Raceway here in Wisconsin after a non-stop thrash from Detroit. But some teams did steal a little sleep, believe it or not. And Bill has more on that story from the other side of town.
This is the parking lot outside the Holiday Inn in Beloit, Wisconsin, right up the street from Black Hawk Farms, where the first performance event of the One Lap of America will take place in just a little while. Last night, most of these drivers drove hard through the nighttime hours to get here so that they could get a little shut-eye before the racing begins a little bit later on. And right now, many of the drivers are gathering in the parking lot and getting ready for that first event. The team of Ken Duran and John Shipley of Glendale, New York, and Chris Gillen of Sherman, Connecticut, caught some Z's within the commodious confines of their 94 Chevy Impala SS. John in the back, Chris is sleeping up front, and where's Ken? Well, he's obviously the early riser of the bunch.
The team that chose not to pamper themselves and sleep a bit are lined up on the entrance road waiting for the gates to open in just a few minutes. And despite widespread sleep deprivation, the mood is upbeat. The driver's seat of the Ford Cosworth from London might have gone unused, and its 16-valve turbo engine might have never charged into life had good fortune not intervened for Gordon Lewis and his team.
It's from London. It didn't get on the plane it should have got on. So we were sweating on it, you know. And then when it did get to Toronto, they sent it by bonded truck, and it arrived 10 o'clock yesterday morning. And at 4 o'clock, we managed to get it out of customs with a lot of people pulling strings for us, just to, you know, to get into this race again.
Well, the gates have now opened and the cars are streaming in. Now, this will be what is called a solo road course competition. This will not be wheel-to-wheel racing, but a time trial with teams going after not only overall championship honors, but individual class honors also. Scoring will be based on their fastest lap times from all 9 road course events and their bracket drag racing performance coming up later in Phoenix. Will experience play a critical role in the outcome of the one lap?
A lot of the guys here have had a lot of SCCA road racing experience, so preparing their cars for this event is no big deal. But we thought we'd talk to some of the guys who have never done this before and find out how they're getting their cars ready. Okay, Rich, I heard that you've never road raced before, so what are you doing right now?
Well, actually, I'm trying to make sure we're at the right course. This is Black Hawk Farms Raceway, but they've got a lot of different racetracks in here, and we're kind of confused because we had a little difficulty finding it this morning. But I think we're at the right place because all the other cars are here also.
What are some of the things you've done to the car to prepare it for this? Anything?
We put the stickers on, and we opened up the windows to ventilate it a little, to give it more of an aerodynamic type look. That's about all we actually did to it. You too can get one of these by just going to a dealer.
Well, here's a vehicle you don't see at road courses very much, a 1992 Ford F350 XLT crew cab dual-wheeled diesel pickup truck owned by John Lelever of Brampton, Ontario, Canada. John, I know you have not road raced before, but are you actually going to do it today in this truck?
We're going to give it a try.
What have you done to the truck to make it handle better on this road course?
Wax the paint job. What I'd like to do is I'd like to break a minute 30 out here on these Bridgestone tires. I think they're an excellent tire. What I don't want to do, I don't want to spin. I just checked my heart rate here in the pit lane. I'm normally about a 52, and I'm about 128 right now. I think I'm pumped to go very fast.
At this very moment on the racetrack, Bill, some of the fastest cars in the one lap are in the process of running their timed laps. The 1990 Roof Porsche Carrera Turbo, driven by Steve Bedore from Minneapolis. Another Minneapolis native, Kim Crum, in his 89 Porsche 928. The 91 ZR1 Corvette, driven by Steve Algrim of Glendale Heights, a suburb of Chicago, and Dan Schott from Schofield, Wisconsin, in his 90 Nissan 300ZX. And despite the heavy presence of the Porsches of Hurley Haywood and Price Cobb, plus the equally aggressive assault on the event by the BMW teams of John Buffum and Russ Wiles, only Hurley Haywood is currently showing in the top 5. That's the 89 Pontiac Firebird formula of Tom and Dave Zovelson of Gainesville, Florida, one of several father and son teams competing in the one lap. Another father and son team is among the one-lap ranks, and Bill tells us more about them.
Father Jerry and son Dave are taking the challenge of the one lap in their 1994 Impala SS, despite the fact that Jerry, a wheelchair builder, is confined to one, and they couldn't be having a better time.
Excellent. It's enjoyable. We're just having a terrific time.
I tell you, it's great. You know, I've worked with him ever since I got out of school, and we get along real good. And everybody was kidding us and says, well, you guys are never going to talk to each other again after this. And it hasn't really worked out that way, you know. He holds up his end, and I hold up mine, and we work together on this thing just as good as we work together any time else.
Well, we've been talking about it for a while, and then the opportunity came to get this Impala SS, and we thought that this would be a good opportunity. So we proceeded, and here we are.
We thought we'd promote the wheelchair that we manufacture and the lifestyle of you know, disabled people and being able to get out and being active and that kind of thing. And we thought the one lap would be a perfect opportunity to showcase that theme.
The Morgan's Impala SS may be a bit better suited to a road course than that behemoth of a diesel pickup of John Lelever, which is now finishing its timed laps. And look at this. Steve and Scott Algrim's 91 ZR1 will leave here as the surprise overall leader, with Steve Bedore second. Russ Wiles has managed to jump into third in his M3. Dan Shout's 300ZX is fourth, and Hurley Haywood is fifth in the 911. Next stop, Road America.
A message from Nicholas, Perot, and Strauss.
You know, I hate to see kids get hurt. Parents, one way you can protect them.
The bighorn sheep gather every fall in the upper pastures. Squaring off from one another, they recoil on their powerful legs and smash heads with such force that the sound can be heard for miles across the valley. Battles such as these will continue throughout the season, determining control of this hard-fought piece of turf.
Doug Flutie leads the Calgary Stampeders against the Edmonton Eskimos tomorrow on ESPN2.
The farm country of Wisconsin is one of America's most picturesque areas, and not far from the small town of Elkhart Lake is the 4-mile road course, Road America, and the cars are now beginning to arrive at the gates after a 150-mile sprint from Black Hawk Farms. Along the way, there was a time, speed, distance rally, an event within an event, which will not be included in the one lap's overall scoring. But it was a great way to keep the teams sharp by requiring them to follow the route instructions fastidiously and hopefully arrive at the rally finish in the predetermined length of time. The cars are making their way into the Road America paddock, and once they're prepped, the drivers will be going out for the first of 2 timed runs. Right now, the surprise overall leader on the one lap is Steve Algrim, who is obviously quite pleased.
It's amazing. We had an excellent run at Black Hawk. Theoretically, we burned up the track. Someone at corner 1 said my brakes were on fire and had flames coming out, and I'd believe it. That it was a phenomenal run. I was very happy with it. The car ran beautifully.
Well, take a look at this. Parachuting into Road America, complete with a roof banner, is Steve Bedore, who is currently 2nd overall in the one lap. Steve is also accompanied by a second jumper who has a helmet-mounted camera, and he is sending us this video of Steve on his way down. Steve has landed safely, and Bill Stevens is about to catch up with him.
Well, Steve, if nothing else, I think you just won the award for the most dramatic entrance here at Road America. When did you come up with this idea?
Well, I find that skydiving and driving fast kind of go hand in hand. I was second coming in this event, or this stop, and I needed a little bit of adrenaline boost to be sure I was really on the edge, really pushing the car. And what better way than dropping in from 10,000 feet? I tell you, I got so much pumping through my blood right now. I want to get in that car and rock and roll.
The 86 Porsche 944, driven by the father and son team of Greg and Ron Koenig, has rocked and rolled right off the track. But after a quick push start from corner workers, Greg is up and running again. Many of the 1994 one-lappers are competing more for class honors than the overall championship, since they are entered in cars with much less power than the team Porsches of Hurley Haywood and Price Cobb, or the BMW M3s of John Buffum and Russ Wiles. The Haywood team is enjoying themselves for reasons other than the need for speed.
It was fun. I mean, really, this is the first time I've been on this one lap, and, you know, I had all sorts of reservations. I really didn't want to do it. And then I said, okay, I'll do it, and I'm having a great time. I mean, it's a lot of fun, and when you're able to have a passenger like Jean Lindemood, it makes the whole trip real exciting. She's a laugh a minute, I'll tell you.
I really like driving across the country, and I try to do it at least once a year. I usually do it more than that. I like big, long drives. Unfortunately, this isn't as ideal because we have car phones.
Well, Jean may not appreciate having a car phone, but another team competing on the one lap is glad that they have one.
Fay and Dave Teal of Aston, Pennsylvania, along with Jim Briotti of Cherry Hill, New Jersey, have competed in the one lap many times. But when Fay was diagnosed in 1981 with multiple sclerosis, they centered their efforts on promoting Laps for MS, including phoning in reports to local radio stations from the car with updates on the event. After competing as a driver in the past, the one lap still puts a gleam in Fay's eye despite the challenge.
This is the 3rd year that I am not driving the car, and in fact, that's just a matter of not having outfitted the vehicle for handicap controls. I cannot handle a standard car any longer, so I'm waiting for next year when I'm going to be better and I'm going to be able to drive the car, and they're going to have to take care of all this nonsense, and I'm going to put them all to shame.
Well, right now, Fay would have her work cut out for her to put some of these drivers to shame as the time trials continue. Price Cobb and his #1 Porsche is really flying, as we can see from his in-car camera. That's the 73 Dodge Challenger owned by Bob Kane of San Francisco, California, Mark Grubelik of Albuquerque, New Mexico, and Mark Patton of Ithaca, New York. Bill asked Bob how three guys got together for the one lap.
Well, I've known Mark Grubelik for about 20 years almost now, and way back when we started racing amateur TSD rallies, and about 2 years ago we actually competed in One Lap of America for the first time, and we actually won our class then, which was economy sedan. So this time we figured we'd come back with a little heavier piece of hardware and see if we could do a little more damage.
And according to our information, Bob's team is running a strong third in class. And the Morgan team continues to do well, leading the mid-price sedan class at this point. Other class leaders include the Indiana team of Chris Stauffer and Joel Grove in a 94 Firebird Firehawk in Sports GT2. Michael Hickman and Mark Riccaro lead Special Sports American in their 81 Z28. The Mecklenburg and Burton Porsche 928 is leading Special Sports Imported. And the Vintage American is currently led by the 69 Camaro of Mark Stilo of Akron, Ohio. With time trials now completed at Road America, we do have some shuffling in the overall standings. Steve Bedore is now leading, with Steve Algram falling to second. Russ Wild stays in third. Hurley Haywood moves up to fourth, and Bryce Cobb slips into the top 5 after 2 track events. Now, as the sun begins to dip into the western horizon, One Lap of America hits the highways once again for a 700-mile trek to the wheat belt.
The biggest difference between these cars and the one in your driveway could be the tires. Bridgestone Potenza. Just think, you already have the car.
I've stopped playing baseball now, but my son Reed just signed a pro contract. Sometimes we go over his game, and if he asks, I tell him what I know. Like when your muscles get sore, take Advil. Just a couple are strong, fast, and work for me. And Advil's gentle on my stomach.
If it'll work on these old muscles, then I know it'll work on mine.
Nothing's been proven to last longer than Advil. Advanced medicine for pain.
Let's huddle up now. The quarterback drops back and rolls right. He fakes the pass and pitches to ESPN. ESPN takes the whole college football season and runs with it. Running, hitting, diving, scoring. And we got the games. Thursday, we got Tommy Frazier leading the Cornhuskers against Texas Tech. We're going to go, go, go. And we won't stop till we cross that goal line. ESPN College Football. It's inspirational.
Welcome back to One Lap. As the sun rose over America's heartland, Heartland Park in Topeka, Kansas, was where Ralph Shaheen caught up with the factory Porsche team after a southbound run from Elkhart Lake.
We had an electrical storm, which was actually pretty groovy to watch. It was like the 4th of July. Then that turned into some pretty impressive rainstorm, which we were in for about 45 minutes. We were booking it pretty good. We had a lot of suicidal bugs on the windscreen, which, I mean, lots of them that made it difficult to see. So the rain was actually welcome because it was able to clean the windshield. Other than that, it was relatively free of events. I'm used to it. This is what I do for my living, so... lots of times in endurance races, long distance races, you're feeling really tired, much more tired than I'm feeling now, and you have to get in and drive at 200 miles an hour.
If we're having a good time, it's gonna really be wearing by the end of tomorrow, but then we'll try to catch up on some sleep.
Have you found any tricks yet to getting rest, or what's the trickiest part about sleeping in a car?
Well, the best part is that Vince over here, my co-driver, always believes it when I pull over and say, okay, it's your turn. I've been doing it for 2 hours, only 10 minutes gone by. but he was in such a deep sleep, he had no clue. So far, it's worked well. Yeah, it's worked pretty good.
You know, it's got to be the most frustrating thing in the world to work really, really hard to get the lead of a race and then have something knock you out. Well, that is what has befallen Steve Bedore and Keith Anderson. Here we are at Heartland Park, Topeka, Kansas at 6 a.m. on a Tuesday morning, and nobody has any idea where the leaders are.
Well, Ralph, one vehicle that did not skip a beat on the road to Topeka, Kansas was the 1986 Mustang SVO, carrying two very special racers and the dreams of thousands of hopeful transplant recipients.
Transplant recipients can do anything anyone else can do, even this wild and crazy one lap.
We wanted to show that we can do everything. I mean, Linda and I hold down 60, 70, 80-hour-a-week jobs, both of us. We carry on normal social activities, etc. And we wanted to make a demonstration that you know, you can do anything that you want to do.
I hope that enough people see this show and the other newspaper articles and so forth that we've been involved in, that people will understand that it's important to donate organs, to think about that at a time of crisis in your own life, that something really good can come out of something very terrible in your life. If you've had a loss of a loved one and you donate the organs, something very positive comes out of it. Mike and I wouldn't be standing here today if some families had not made that very positive decision to donate organs. And, you know, one lap's one of those things I've always wanted to do, and to be able to do it as a regular person was great, but be able to do it as a transplant recipient is 10 times as great. Because, I mean, I want everybody to know we are transplant recipients, and we can do it.
But can the Steve Bedore, Keith Anderson Porsche do it? They have arrived an hour behind schedule, and Ralph is with Steve.
Okay, Steve, well, where have you been? Everybody's wondering where the leaders are.
Well, we got tied up leaving out of Road America. And ever since then, you know, we want to obey the speed limit, so we've been taking it easy getting over here. But we've been hustling as quickly as we could. They want to make some dupe films of the skydivers video. And to find power to do it took a while.
Well, such are the ways of racing. But without sponsors like Steve's and Bridgestone, we wouldn't have a great event like the One Lap of America. Heartland Park's winding road course is a mixture of high and low speed turns, accented by the long main straight that is also used twice a year for NHRA drag racing. And despite its late arrival, the number 5 car will leave Heartland Park number 1 overall in the event.
The PR is what slowed you down at Road America. How are you going to handle it for the rest of the way?
Oh, we'll still obligate, but we'll keep a closer eye on the stopwatch.
And as he headed for the high country of Colorado, Steve planned on keeping his feet and wheels firmly on the ground.
Yeah, no more skydives, let's say that.
Timing is everything in the One Lap of America, and even though you might have the ultimate machine, making sure you're on the clock and ready to go is the key. For Steve Bedore and Keith Anderson, they beat the clock here at Heartland Park. They're on their way back down the highway once again.
The scenic Kansas and Colorado landscape is America the Beautiful. The problem is, these folks don't have time to stop and enjoy it. Second Creek Raceway near Denver is the 4th track on this winding 5,000-plus mile odyssey. A winding, relatively slow circuit, but the searing Colorado heat took its toll on the factory BMW M3 of 5-time one-lap champion John Buffum.
If we have to brake, at least we can brake near an airport where we can get home. We'll give BMW a call and tell them, you know, ask them where they want us to leave it for them. And we're only like half an hour from the airport in Denver, so we're on our way.
And the rest of the one-lap contingent is on its way west to Phoenix.
The biggest difference between these cars and the one in your driveway could be the tires. Bridgestone Potenza. Just think, you already have the car.
David Robinson.
Take the time.
Take Ike.
Take it deep.
Take a breather. Take a shot.
Take it all.
Take a message.
Take the time.
Now.
It's It's a quarterback fake, and the pitch goes to ESPN. ESPN cuts right and takes the whole college football season and runs with it. Tonight at 8 p.m., it's the Cornhuskers taking on Texas Tech. ESPN College Football. Catch it.
Sunrise in the Arizona desert and the Bridgestone One Lap of America continues. As the race swings to its western extreme, the drivers begin to realize they're not even halfway home. The cars are now arriving at Firebird Raceway in Phoenix for a most unique stop. There will be two separate races, one on the Firebird Road Course and the Firebird Drag Strip. And as we mentioned earlier, the exotic mixture of cars assembled for the one lap is a feast for the eyes. Right, Bill?
Indeed, Derek. In fact, the car that gets my vote for the most unusual on the one lap is this beautiful 48 Jaguar driven by Glenn Dodd of Greenville, South Carolina. What really sets it apart is the drivetrain. Glenn's going to open the hood. Take a look at this fully detailed Corvette tuned Port 350 engine. Glenn, why would you put an engine like this in a car like this?
That's just the thing that's coming in street rods is the tuned port fuel injected engine. It's the latest thing, high technology. It's going with all the new cars are. You don't want all the amenities that you can put in one of these cars, and it's got just about all of them.
And as you can see, Glenn's Jag can get around this road course quite smartly, with a bit more horsepower than it had when it left the factory. Elsewhere, event leader Steve Bedore has had his difficulties with the roof Porsche, so let's now go back to Bill.
Well, the last time we saw Steve Bedore, he was all smiles back in Denver, but things have changed. Steve, we see your guys working on the car. Some problems.
Boy, have things ever changed. We've had a nightmare all night chasing down simply a $5 part that malfunctioned. That's pretty much jeopardizing my ability to run today at all. So right now, it's a question mark whether I'll be racing or not at all today.
And it's not an ideal way to be repairing your car in this 100-degree heat. Nearby in the pits is Ray Newman, who basically kidnapped his wife's RX-7 for the one lap.
The name of our team is MWTIF, which stands for My Wife Thinks I'm Fishing. So it should be interesting when we get back for a week. She knows we're here, but she's going to be really surprised when it comes home.
Does she normally check the odometer when you bring the car back?
No, but she might this time. She's expecting 5,000, no more, so we'll see what happens.
Now look at this. Steve Bedore has made repairs and has been allowed to take his road course run while all the other entries have begun the drag race eliminations. Steve is charging around the road course and in fact has just turned the fastest time of the day.
Well, the guy thought he was going to be going home just won the time trial event. He's about to make his victory speech.
I've never had to come that close before in my life. I was given the 2-minute warning, either get your car there or you're out. And right then, one of the electricians found a problem, fixed it, got in the car, and it worked great. That roof had this awesome power. And it turned out to be the fastest time of the day.
But I also have some bad news for Steve Bedore. I just spoke to Brock Yates. He said because Steve Bedore was not able to take part in the official qualifying runs for the drag racing section, he is no longer eligible to score any points in that drag racing division. Steve thinks he is effectively now out of contention. However, we will still follow his progress. Right now, however, look at the drag racing final coming up. Ernest Edo's ERA 427 Cobra replica will face that diesel dually of John LeLever and Reg Noble. It's a huge head start for the truck based on their individual dial-ins. Can the Cobra catch the pickup? Yes, and Ernest Eda is the drag racing winner. It's the halfway point of the one lap, and everybody will now make a mandatory one-night stay at the luxurious Radisson Resort in Scottsdale. That's where Bill talked with the event's creator and organizer, Brock Yates, about what the one lap means.
What I've tried to do with this event, Bill, is to create as much personal options on the part of the competitors as possible. You know, we're encumbered by rules. The whole world is closing in on us rules-wise. The old Cannonball had the one philosophy of the old Cannonball was there is only one rule. There are no rules. And this one we can't go quite that far. But I try to give the competitors as much latitude and as much freedom as they can personally handle, within safety reasons and whatever, so that they can go home and say that, yeah, they did something pretty special.
Football fans, get ready for the 1994 NFL season. With Sports Illustrated's exclusive NFL Team Kickoff Kit. Free with your paid subscription to SI. Just tell us your favorite team.
Cowboys! Packers! 49ers, baby.
And we'll give you more than ever before.
This is incredible. I love it.
Your Team Kickoff Kit starts with your official 1994 team video.
A free Cowboys video? Free Browns video? If I got a free Giants video, I'll be the luckiest man in the world. Oh, man! Where can I get it?
It's an inside look at your favorite team. Brought to you as only Sports Illustrated can.
It ain't no surprise.
From end zone to end zone, you'll find out what's in store for 94.
Football, baby. Football.
Your Team Kickoff Kit also brings you this authentic NFL team cap. Free.
Free?
Oh, yeah, free.
Yes, I do, bud.
It's a great cap featuring your team's official colors and logos. Call now and you'll also get special bonus coverage of your favorite team in Sports Illustrated. Just tell us your favorite team and we'll include a bonus section on your team's division throughout the NFL season.
That's the Bills coverage. We need it, baby. More Bears. More Cowboys, the better.
Free extra coverage for the Packers? I'd sign up right now.
Give it to me.
It's an unbelievable football package that no real fan can be without. Call now and get your official team video, hat, and special bonus coverage in SI. Best of all, your kickoff kit is free with your paid subscription to Sports Illustrated. Call now, use your credit card, and you'll get 54 issues of SI, including the swimsuit issue, for only $1.47 an issue. You save over 50% off the cover price. And your incredible Team Kickoff Kit is free.
Yeah. Where's the number?
From preseason to the Super Bowl, you'll really have your team covered in 94 with Sports Illustrated's amazing Kickoff Kit. Nobody gets you into football like Sports Illustrated. Get into it.
After sleeping in a bed for the first time in several days, the one-lap teams have already begun pulling out from the Radisson Resort. As of this moment, here are the overall standings. Steve Algrim is first, Bryce Cobb now all the way up to second, Russ Wiles is third, Hurley Haywood remains in fourth, and Mark Stilo moves into fifth. With a look at what lies ahead, let's go to Bill, who is waiting for the competitors at the threshold of desert country.
We're on Route US 60, just east of Scottsdale, Arizona, and the one-lappers are embarking on the longest single stretch of highway driving in the entire event. They'll be going about 1,000 miles to Hallett Motor Racing Circuit in Hallett, Oklahoma for the next round of performance runs. It's very early in the day. It's already 100 degrees. It'll get to 110 before the afternoon is over, which means that for the next 22 hours, these guys and ladies will be driving through some of the hottest and most desolate country in the United States. U.S. Route 60 stretches across the western United States like an asphalt racing stripe. Perhaps not as famous as another highway through the desert, it is, however, as breathtaking a drive as you'll ever find. With challenging mountain two-lanes snaking between treacherous canyons and long-legged ropes of pavement traversing wide-open prairie where flatlanders tried to make a go of it over 100 years ago. On a journey of 1,000 miles, there will be stops to make, some scheduled, for fuel, and a check under the hood. At this stop, we made a strange discovery in the only police cruiser entered in the one-lap. Here's something I thought I'd never see. Inside Jim Tiganelli's police car, take a look at this. On the dashboard, under this hat, a radar detector? Jim, can that be?
You know, a lot of people make that same mistake. That's a garage door opener. That's so we don't have to get out when we get home. We just open the door and pull right in.
A garage door opener, sorry. Fay Teal and team could have used one of those garage door openers, as we later found out. There are also stops dictated by the rules, such as this photo passage in Socorro, New Mexico. Each team must take a Polaroid picture of themselves in front of a landmark to prove they're following the mandated route. The Alan Dick Jr. crew from Pennsylvania admired their photo, but you could tell that fatigue was setting in. Nice job, guys. Like the pose. What's the idea behind this?
Well, I guess if you've been in a car for 6 hours straight and you get a little rammy, you just want to come up here and go, well, take my picture now. Yeah. You want to get out here and get a little fun. You're like, oh, dude.
And then there are the unscheduled stops, the most frustrating of all. Those due to mechanical problems, such as those that befell the overheating engine, the 1981 DeLorean of Eugene and Terrence Tafaro of New York. Ned DeGallen's Everett Morrison Cobra replica was being hauled away by the time we arrived. But luckily, the vast majority of teams overcome the pitfalls of a 1,000-mile desert adventure and arrive for the next scheduled racetrack event at the Hallett Motor Racing Circuit west of Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Right you are, Bill. And with some low clouds and drizzle falling here in Oklahoma, the drivers will have to use extra caution negotiating this road course, especially with only one night's sleep under their belts since leaving Detroit several days ago. But by the looks of how these drivers are getting through this very tricky S-turn with an elevation change, it's quite remarkable how well they're doing here at Hallett. Right now, Bill is with the driver of the car that has jumped all the way to first place with only 3 road course events remaining.
Steve Algrim of Chicago, Illinois, with his ZR1 Corvette, is once again the overall leader in the 1994 One Lap of America. Steve, what is it going to take to finally put this away?
It's going to take a lot of work and probably a lot of luck. We really backed into first place. We got a couple really lucky breaks. We did well at first 2 tracks, and my brother Scott did a phenomenal drive at the drag race that really helped jump us right into first place again. So could be interesting.
This is Russ Wiles, who's already made his run and is in 3rd place overall, heading out of the track and on his way to Memphis Motorsport Park, some 450 miles away. And we'll join him and the rest of the one-lappers in Memphis, Tennessee, when we return.
When you're ready to buy a new computer, software, or home office equipment, shop Sun for the biggest selection at the certified lowest prices every day. This IBM 486SX with 129 meg hard drive and 4 meg of RAM is $687, and Packard Bell's 486SX multimedia system with 340 meg hard drive, 4 meg of RAM, and free software is $1287. Your savings center for computers and home office equipment is Sun TV, where you know you pay less.
It was like a nightmare. I was scared, angry. But later I realized how lucky we were to be with Nationwide Insurance.
The robbery really devastated Don's family. Obviously, I got one of our claims people involved right away.
They were very supportive.
Because it is...
They wrote us in advance and promised to get everything back to the way it was.
We wanted to get their life back to normal.
Your local Nationwide agent Kevin Fenzel in Hamburg and Dan Dahlman in Cheektowaga. History.
Short spot. Out of sight.
Sports Night. What's next in sports news? Live Tuesday through Friday at 5 on ESPN2.
In case you've lost track, it's Friday, and that's the skyline of Memphis, Tennessee, on the shores of the Mississippi River coming into view. Not far away is Memphis Motorsports Park, and the one-lap competitors are now pulling into the main gate. After the time trial at Hallett, this car, the ZR1 of Steve and Scott Algrim, is now tied for 3rd overall with this car, the Porsche 911 of Hurley Haywood. Hurley's teammate Price Cobb, now the overall leader, but he has not yet arrived here in Memphis. This is now the 2nd place car of Russ Wiles. Ralph Shaheen asked Russ earlier how much of his racing skill helps him avoid trouble out on the highway.
None, because I don't drive much of the highway. I try to sleep. I have my co-drivers get me to and from these events, and I just kind of try to sleep and relax and navigate.
So you're almost like a hired gun racetrack driver then?
Everything but the hired part, yeah.
Well, Russ is currently making his time lapse, and despite trying to catch some sleep in transit, you can see that he's just a bit ragged through what are called the M's. Jay Van Duke of Brookings, South Dakota, misses this corner not once, not twice, but 3 times. It may have something to do with his space limitations, as we found out earlier.
There's something, I think everybody else is putting something every time we stop into our pile and making us carry it for them, because it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and everybody else seems to be about the same. And I don't know, I think I'm going to have to leave our co-driver out after a while, because it just seems to be terrible. We've gotten real sloppy. When we started out, everything was real nice and neat, and oh, this fits here, and isn't this wonderful? Now it's, throw it in, let's go.
Well, Jay shouldn't feel too badly about his trouble on the track, since moments ago, none other than Hurley Haywood spun his Porsche in the M's. Hurley may have had the same travel inconveniences as Jay Van Duke, but his crew is certainly getting the royal treatment.
You don't have to give up all the comforts of home to partake in the One Lap of America adventure. In fact, if you can get the right credential to get on board this Porsche Bridgestone bus, you might feel right at home the way it's all trashed out after a week on the road. This thing comes equipped with everything you could want to cross the country. It's got air conditioning, it's got TV and VCR and all the food and drink you can possibly stand. So I think what I'm going to do after we leave Memphis is just climb on board and kick back and go along for the ride.
Well, lo and behold, just moments ago, Bryce Cobb arrived at the track, and we've heard reports that he and co-driver Vince Bodiford may have spent some time in a local lockup. We asked Bryce what happened.
Well, you know, we've essentially, Hurley and I and my teammate Vince Bodiford have kind of been the first cars everywhere, which seems now to be the key. But yesterday we thought we'd sleep in a little bit later, and we had some time to take a rest. And mind you, that's the only rest we get throughout the entire 6 days. So we thought we'd be last. Well, that was a big mistake because the cops didn't think it was funny at all, and they were hell-bent to put someone behind bars, and it looked like it was going to be us. We didn't think that was too funny, and I'm awfully glad the guy that stopped us last night didn't see that sign.
At any rate, he hasn't let his little dispute with the police slow him down any. And speaking of the police, one team has taken a cue from the long arm of the law in preparing their vehicle for the one lap. Here's Ralph.
Bruce Taylor and the guys in the Oldsmobile Bravada have incorporated some crime-fighting equipment that you might see in your own local police cars into their one-lap program. It comes from the folks at Crime Tech. They got the camera mounted up over the dash, and they're taking home videos of their tour of everything they see along the road. Your local police officers use it to videotape criminals while they're arresting them. It has this little monitor down here so they can see exactly what it is they're taping. That's our own Bill Stevens out there looking a little rough around the edges, don't you think? He's way overdue for a shower.
I think we all are at this point. Back on the track, two cars that are making a move right now in the overall standings are the 69 Camaro of Mark Stilo of Akron, Ohio, and the 91 ZR1 Corvette of Russ Wilson of Newport Beach, California. With the time trials here in Memphis just about over, Bryce Cobb is your overall leader of the 1994 Bridgestone One Lap of America. Now it's off to the middle of the state and some time to unwind in Nashville.
The biggest difference between these cars and the one in your driveway could be the tires. Bridgestone Potenza. Just think, you already have the car.
The remarkable Ricoh plain paper laser fax. Designed to grow as your company grows. A higher level of performance and productivity. With intelligence and capabilities so expandable, it'll be hard for your company to outgrow it, even harder for the competition to outperform it. Ricoh didn't just refine high-speed digital fax. We reinvented it. The name to know, Ricoh.
Prime Monday, 7:30, ESPN.
As night falls in Nashville, the teams are pulling in for some relaxation instead of racing. These are the corporate headquarters of One Lap sponsors Bridgestone, and there's a genuine outdoor barbecue underway, which gives company executives and their families a chance to meet the drivers and co-drivers and look over their cars. The one-lappers are made to feel like celebrities, although there is at least one better-known guest at the party. There's plenty of great food, and after living on a nutritional regime, low on food value but high in expediency for the last 6 days, everyone takes advantage. The festivities are capped off by the presentation of one-lap proceeds totaling $10,000 from Bridgestone to the Ronald McDonald Charities. But all too soon, it's time to mount up and be on the way for a 330-mile trek through the night to Indiana and the challenging road course of Putnam Park. It would be here that Steve Vidor would set fastest lap for the 6th time, a spectacular performance. Bryce Cobb would set second fastest time and later downplay the effects of fatigue on performance.
I can assure you, though, that anybody, even when you're tired, as soon as you get behind the wheel, it's a lot of adrenaline, so you wake up in a hurry. I can recall yesterday going into Howland. We were late. I don't know if you heard about that story. We got way behind, got caught out in some difficult situations on the street. I was dog tired when I got there, but as soon as I did the warm-up lap, I was wide awake.
His ability to rise to the occasion has long been the trademark of Bryce Cobb's racing career. A decade ago, he burst to the top in the IMSA GTP series, driving Porsche 962 prototypes and later GTP and Group C Jaguars to a host of wins, including Le Mans. Steve Algrim and Russ Wiles knew the score. Catching Cobb looked like a real long shot.
Going up against Bryce Cobb is quite a challenge, and mathematically it's possible. Theoretically, I doubt it, but we're going to try.
Wiles would clock third best time, but with only one more track event, he was anything but overconfident.
It's not my own destiny anymore. I'm going to need some help. I'm going to need two competitors, any two competitors, to get behind me, but ahead of Bryce Cobb, and that's a pretty tall order.
And for Hurley Haywood, the spin in Memphis had cost him any chance of moving up near the top. It was now a matter of holding on to fourth place. A disappointment for the winningest active driver in IMSA history, and a racer of phenomenal talents and accomplishments. Even Brock Yates himself expressed some surprise on how the scoring was shaking out.
Everybody thought that Price and Hurley, frankly, would come in here and just lay waste to the place, and they're having troubles. They're reaching hard.
So the top three were Cobb, Wiles, and Algrim as the final racetrack event of the one lap unfolded in Waterford Hills, Michigan on a sunny Saturday afternoon. Driver fatigue and the desire to push a little harder to move up in the points led to numerous mistakes and miscues, such as Jim Tiganelli in his Chevy Police Cruiser, which might have worn the slogan, "To protect and to swerve." Dan Schott, who had run in or near the top 5, lost a turbo in his 300ZX, and a trail of smoke followed Bob Kane's Challenger as he neared the end of his run. But there are strong times from Bryce Cobb, Russ Wiles, and Steve Algrim. A celebrated champion and two club-level amateurs, all within a few points of each other in 3 different makes of showroom stock vehicles. Bryce Cobb wins the 94 one-lap, but to make it official, he and everyone else must make the 35-mile trip back to the race rock and the finish line. And we'll meet them there when we return in a moment.
The biggest difference between these cars and the one in your driveway could be the tires. Bridgestone Potenza. Just think, you already have the car.
To soothe athlete's foot, Desinex does it. But to cure athlete's foot, Desinex does it. Only Desinex has UDA to both soothe the discomfort and kill the fungus. To soothe and cure, Desinex does it all.
Pick up the phone for the latest sports news from ESPN all day, every day.
95 cents per minute. Call 1-900-966-ESPN.
Tomorrow night, an NABF Flyweight Championship. Danny Romero defends his title against Manuel Jesus Herrera live. Top Rank Boxing on ESPN.
Yep, this is where it all began 6 days ago and 5,199 long miles in the past. This is the Race Rock Motor City Diner in Detroit, where the one lap of America began last Saturday. And in just a few minutes, the competitors will be coming through that driveway into the parking lot after an incredible trek across the United States. In fact, right now the first few one-lap teams are slowly pulling into the Race Rock parking lot and receiving an enthusiastic checkered flag from one-lap official Ray Cameron. And here's Derek with the final results.
Well, now it's official, and here are the top 5 finishers in this year's One Lap of America. Cobb and Bodyford first, Wiles, Bartley and McDougall second, the Algren brothers third, Haywood and Lindemood fourth, and Wilson and Kreider managed to capture the 5th spot. And here are the individual class winners. Congratulations to them on a terrific job, especially those who are competing in this event for the very first time. Right now, Bill is with the #1 finishing team.
You've won Le Mans before. Which feels better, that or this?
I'll tell you, the toss-up, that was something that I always wanted to do because I lived in Europe for 2 years as a kid. But, the United States is my home. I love it dearly. We had a great time seeing and doing things that we haven't done in many years. Not so sure I'll do it again, but had a great time.
And the winner received a big congratulatory welcome from teammate Gene Lindemood. Now let's get a comment from the 2nd and 3rd place finishers.
On the way back from Waterford, I was reviewing all my mistakes that I had, and but really, I don't think I could have changed it. I mean, it was a good run, spectacular run for me, and I'm happy to be in second. Well, it's first in class and second overall, so I'll take it. I'll try again next year.
It was unbelievable. We had no expectation. We came into this wanting to just do a little better. We knew a few tracks. We ended up taking a first at a couple tracks, second and thirds at other tracks. This is just, we're dumbfounded. It was phenomenal.
It certainly is a festive homecoming here, and as the teams begin to decompress, there are one-lap stories being exchanged left and right.
He goes to sleep. 10 minutes later, he has a nightmare, and he wakes up, and he thinks he's driving out through a field. He's in the back seat screaming. Now, what does that do to the driver?
Carl Kelly and Mike Talomel, who started the event in their '62 Corvette, are finishing in a pickup truck.
Well, it's a white GM product, man. The other white GM product died, so this was our tow vehicle. What can I say?
Well, the 1994 Bridgestone One Lap of America is now history. And Ralph, something unusual happened almost every day, but there really was many memorable performances, wasn't there?
Oh, absolutely. But for me, I think it all began right at the starting line when we got to see all the wide variety of machinery competing in the one lap. And I can hardly wait for 1995 to see what these guys are going to drag out next.
Bill, were you impressed?
Well, I know that you had a lot of experience endurance racing, Derek, so you had to be impressed as well with the fact that many of these drivers were not professionals. They drove mile after mile with very little sleep and yet got to the racetracks, were able to road race and drag race, and put in some great performances.
Now, guys, I know we had a great time doing this, but do you think should we do it again next year?
Yeah, but I want a little more sleep before we push off in 95.
What do you think, Bill?
I think someone left the light on for us. Let's go.
Good idea.
The 1994 Bridgestone One Lap of America has been brought to you by Bridgestone, the next revolution in tires. The Bridgestone One Lap of America was a presentation of Diamond P Sports in association with ESPN.